GM Farcaster. It is Wednesday, March 13th, and you are here with Nouns Prop and Adrienne for 21 minutes of Farcaster News to start your day. And yeah, there was a little update yesterday to Unlonely, so I am unable to jump in the chat at the moment, but permissionless channels launched yesterday. I wasn't going to start with that story, but we might as well mention it. And we have some fun backgrounds as well. So here's mine, just so you can see, but it does look like I'm wearing a hat and I just have bigger red hair. And you've got the FarHack, which is exciting. And we're going to talk more about that in just a little bit. So all kinds of fun things happening. So my background is Cyber Shakti's new DGen Ladies, which is a really interesting mint that is on a bonding curve. And I honestly don't understand it because I don't understand bonding curves. I know what they are. I just don't know enough about them. But I see redhead. I mint redhead. There you go. That's
simple.
It's very simple. I keep it very simple for this particular reason. If you look at my profile pic, you get it. Or if you just look
I'm keeping
me.
track. You've got Noggles, like if Noggles, mint and follow,
Yep.
Redhead, mint and follow.
These are my things.
List.
Those are pretty much my two things that are pretty much auto things I do with careful DYOR, NFA, blah, blah, blah. All the things. Anyway, moving on. We're going to start with some news and posts from Varun and Dan. This was really interesting to see. We just kicked off a project to revamp feed quality that cmlad.eth and AK Sean are leading. I'm probably butchering that last name. Problem today. Most active users, A, follow a lot of people and channels, and B, rarely unfollow them. If you follow more than a few hundred people and a new meta, e.g. cheese, emerges, it will quickly saturate your feed. So true. And then this as well, we're scaling hubs to handle 10x traffic, 500K DAU. We've got Adichep Pack, Sanjay, and Ozymandias.eth are heads down, making some big changes this month. Here's a quick overview of how hubs work today. And this is a great video if you have not seen, understand how the hubs network works. This is a great little primer. So I would definitely recommend giving that video a view. Another note here in that same thread, an important part of hub performance is catch-up sync or diff sync, which kicks in when hubs get disconnected for a short duration. Sanjay developed this back in 2022 when we were first designing hubs. Another piece is using a performant type-safe language. TypeScript served us well for the first 2 years, but we're reaching the limits of what a high-level garbage collected language can do. And this has been leading, I'm going to say this wrong, Pack has been leading the charge to rewrite core parts of the hubs into Rust to speed up performance. Yes, we're getting techie today. And then another piece is Gossip, or the message broadcast layer. We build on libp2p, and Sangar and Ozymandias have both done a lot of great work to fine-tune it for Farcaster. There's likely enough here for another video series to cover. So that was a lot, but really interesting things going on in terms of scaling Farcaster protocol. So the hubs are really, it's not just about Warpcast, that's about the protocol as well, and different clients that work on it, including things like Nanar and Supercast and all those kinds of things. Thoughts? You probably, I should have totally let you do that whole entire part.
No, I want to sit here and listen to you read all the technical,
especially the names were the toughest part of that.
So there's always questions from new people of like, are hubs on chain? What's on, like what is it? So again, identity, followers, reaction. Oh, sorry, your identity is on chain, and on chain meaning Ethereum, Optimism. Layer 2. However, all the other kind of Farcaster specific information exists in these things called hubs. So your cast information,
that's what
cast information, followers, reactions, everything kind of that. So hubs are a distributed network of kind of the database of all things Farcaster. Really interesting, Varun's video, 5 minutes. So even for someone who's not super techie could kind of understand the challenges they're trying to solve, because you're solving for kind of massive amounts of data and the need to replicate it fast.
Yeah.
I don't know however many minutes or however many messages hit the
and
network
that was
every
the
minute,
sync
but
part
it's a
that
lot.
they're talking about too. The sync
Yeah.
of making sure they're not the timing of where they're hitting and how long the delay is or things like that. So
yeah,
that
and
was
the computer
interesting.
science problem of like the kind of, do you need the entire network accurate in a second versus over time? So there's kind of two different ways hubs sync, and one is the gossip, which is
Mhm.
optimized for fast. But I learned a new word yesterday. It's lossy. That's LOSSY.
Okay.
Which means there may be some loss. There could be
Huh.
data loss. It's not but it's going to be fast. So that's kind of the real time sync. And then was it gRPC he called it, which is kind of the sync, which is reliable. So it's a little slower, but eventually all the hubs will have a way to make sure they don't lose information when they're speaking to each other.
Very
So,
cool. Thank you
interesting.
for that explanation. This is where we go. And Adrienne takes it from here.
And that's the
because I
very,
have
very high
no idea
level.
what's happening.
But the coolest thing about right is like if anyone who wants that
Yeah.
information, go check out Varun's casts, because there's videos, there's developer calls, there's group chat, whatever. Like
There's
the
even deep
information is
dive
there if you want to
documentation.
learn. Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole there's GitHub, there's a lot. So if you really want to dive in, if you're a dev and you're trying to, build or thinking about building, that's a good place to dive in for sure. But even if you're not, this is a good way just to learn more and to learn something new, which I always like to do. So very cool. So I really appreciate that the team takes us along in their journey as they're growing and scaling. And I think that's a really special part that you don't get anywhere else that I've seen. So
Totally agree. And who doesn't love gossip?
I mean, who doesn't love gossip? I don't know. I get it. Yeah, I kind of get what that is, but I don't really get what that is. Again, there are things I need to learn more about, but not today. Not today. We're going to move on. One more note from Varun here. What's the most annoying thing about building frames today? So if you want to add to this, make sure you drop in there and share any challenges that you're having building frames. So my experience is that a lot of times they'll address those challenges pretty quickly. So make sure you make a note there. They do get listened to. One other note here, our top priority this week is fixing spam in popular channels. The core problem is channels with large distribution attract casters. Some casters post spam or even just slightly off-topic stuff. Moderating is exhausting and thankless. We can speak to that. We want to build a solution that can be decentralized across clients, and the main goals are make the channels high quality for the average viewer, minimize actions the host needs to take, be easily decentralizable, because thinking ahead to channels at the protocol level, because right now they're only at the warpcast level. So there's been a lot of talk about spam. I actually want to shout out Ted and Nonlinear for their their new podcast, which many such cases, and they did really. I think it was last week's that they really talked about spam in kind of a detail about moderating and the challenges of that and different approaches. I know Farcast Her has been trying to find ways to not only deal with spam, but deal with quality, I guess is a better word, of trying to keep it a very high quality channel. So you've got sort of two things going on there, and that's happening in a lot of channels, I think. You've got the spamminess, which is, takes effort to ban and things like that, or hide and all of that kind of thing. But then you also have, okay, this used to be this quality and we've kind of lost it because just more people. So how do you adjust for that, but also not deter people who might just need a warn and hide, if you will. And sort of for those who may not know, if you're not a channel host, you do have some different moderation tools. They're pretty limited though. You've got hide quietly, which the person won't know that you've hidden their cast, but it won't be viewable by anyone who's not a channel host. You've got warn and hide, which gives you an opportunity to say, hey, this isn't, this is a low effort reply. Wow, wow. And then you have ban from channel, which is you can no longer cast in the channel. Or your cast won't be seen at all in the channel. I'm not sure which exactly it works, how it works, but essentially you're banning that person from the channel. So talk a little bit, if you can, about sort of what Farcaster is approaching this as an example for some of the channel hosts.
Yeah, so Farcaster has been very challenging over the last few weeks, and partially, I think if you have a channel with very specific norms or a very specific context, so Apple Vision Pro for one, or the Apple one, and Dan kind of called this one out, right? It's very clear if you're posting off topic.
Yes.
Farcaster is a channel that we are trying to build community and relationships. So it is not so clear in terms of how to moderate. And it's like, obviously the spam is the spam, the people kind of interjecting, that's a little easier. But how do you know the difference between someone who is a lurker and kind of putting out their first cast and testing? So we've been experimenting, and it's like, so if you publish your norms and can be, ruthlessly strict about it, but there's about 5 of us moderating. Guess what? We all have full-time jobs. Some of us have multiple full-time jobs, and we're doing it because we care and we, had the early community. So I'm super excited to see what sort of automated tools and kind of how do you solve it at scale, because individual
we need help.
People as yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. And it's and again, every channel's a little different. But it's definitely something that we need help with, especially as we grow. Because if you get a channel with, I feel bad for base and things like that sometimes, because you've got a channel with over 100,000 users, or memes is another one. So that's where I was listening to Johnny talk about his approach to moderation, and he was talking about curation. And I think that to me is sort of similar to what Farcaster is trying to take an approach at. It's not just moderation. Moderation is get rid of the spam. Curation is how do we keep this high quality? And I think it's funny to talk about curation and memes, but at the same rate, I get what he's saying. And the other experiment that's been going on is having to pay to cast in a channel, and that's essentially is an experiment that's being done in some of those really large channels like memes. But that creates an expectation, right? So if you now are paying, and even though you're paying $1, right, you're paying, I think, 100 warps or something, you have an expectation that I can cast whatever I want now because I paid. So it's you think you solve for one problem and you get another.
Totally.
So, yeah.
And you're right. I mean, obviously it's like the most popular channels are the ones with the targets on their back, and will have the hardest. So
and the ones that degen the ones that degen boosts as well. Yeah. And I think that's been part of Farcaster's issue.
That more money, more problems.
More money, more problems. All right, moving on from there. I loved this one. I thought was really interesting frame that Dan highlighted from Paul Cowgill, which was a frame native block explorers are here. Link to any on-chain transaction with once upon on Farcaster and have a button to copy the transaction appear as part of the frame. I thought this was really cool. I'm always going to Etherscan or base scan or whatever for different things. So I thought anything that makes that a little easier, I think, is amazing. And then let's talk a little bit about this in the short time that we have left. This is from Meg. I am Farcaster depressed. It just feels tiring here sometimes. Like Dejany tried to claim the FarCon ticket but didn't recognize my wallet. So many channel rules, so many Web2 email collections. When my God, so unnecessary. Dunno. Farcaster depression is a thing. This too shall pass. A few other related casts. It's pretty incredible how good people are sniffing out resource scarcity and status markers. People absolutely speedrunning the whoa, Farcaster is pretty cool. Wait, why don't I have an active badge? Kill Dan and everyone he puts on auto follow list. Recycle right now. Then we had this from 6. People seem to feel fatigued by Farcaster feed, judging from my feed of people talking about how they're fatigued by the Farcaster feed. And then Brian taking, of course, a little different approach. Holy shit, Farcaster feed is actually cancer. Anyone denying this is cancer. I'm not sure if that was meant in jest. And then lastly, we had G Money, which I felt this was really funny. And I'll talk more about this in a second. Kind of funny to me how people on X are dancing on the supposed FC grave already. Things are just getting started over here. Couldn't be more bullish. So we've got, I think, two things happening at the same time that's causing this sort of, I don't know, uneasiness. This is the feelings check-in
Oh,
to borrow from Boys Club. So you've got the OGs who are, their feed has changed a lot due to a lot of new folks and sort of all the things that have been happening, who are feeling a little bit fatigued and sad and
me.
wanting the old days, nostalgic for the old days, if you will, the old days of like 3 months ago. And then you have the newbies coming in who are trying to get seen and get active badges and all these things, and then everyone's just not happy at the moment. So it was funny, that G Money post, and by the way, Adrienne's comment was, who's G Money? Anyway, someone pretty well known within crypto Twitter. I was like, I haven't seen anything on X, but then again, I'm not spending much time there, so that might be why. So I went to hunt it down, and I did see one cast that was about, Farcaster sucks, and here's why. And the bottom line was, because I'm not on the recommended follow list is the reason. And my casts are better than the people who are on the recommended follow list was the comment. And yeah, so I didn't take much to that, but what's your thoughts on the fatigue overall and like sort of this sudden new meta that we're seeing about the fatigue, which thank you, Six, for that hilarious cast, by the way.
Oh, I feel the pain. Oh, I feel everyone's pain. It's except we've been through this cycle many times before.
If you've been here a while,
you've been here a while, we've been through this a lot, and it's growing pains, and we're going to get through this. This too shall pass, and we will come out on the other side better, stronger. Meg's Cameron's cracked me up. Sixes I liked, and then when I saw Meg's this morning, it just kind of like hurt my heart.
Yeah. I felt a little sad with Meg's, but the other ones I was like, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, mostly I sympathize with the, so mostly I sympathize with the OGs, because these are people who were here because they really liked Farcaster, and they got something quality out of it. And then when that goes away, I obviously understand all the newer people who are like, hey, I'm not getting the love that I so deserve, even though I haven't put any of the work in or tried to understand this place. Less sympathy, but I understand it. And ultimately, Farcaster's, I love Dan's comment of like, it's just going to be a science experiment.
Yeah.
If it doesn't kind of reach massive scale. So we need all the people we need to, but
I mean, and it happened very quickly. So I think you've always got those challenges of adjustment when you've got this very quick, all of a sudden you've got a jillion more people and they're trying to find their way, and it's going to overwhelm everything. So we're going to get there. But I also thought it was funny, and I think this was in a group chat somewhere that you posted about, remember back when we were just trying to get people to cast in channels? And that was the big thing. And
it wasn't that long ago. I mean, like 6 months ago, it was dead. It was dead quiet. Channels launched, and channels, I mean, we were doing our show probably at this time because it splintered. I think we talked about it splintered the feed or fragmented it. So we had not, like, I would go to the home feed and not see anything. And then you had to go to channels.
You were a home feed maxi. And I was like, I like channels. And it was, we were trying different approaches. So there's always something that's going to, there's going to be things that are new. There's going to be adjustments. There's going to be, periods that are going to feel a little off, but this too shall pass. And I did like that Meg said that at the end. This too shall pass. And it will. But it's good to acknowledge that, this doesn't feel great at the moment. But also there's a lot of really cool things happening. So on that note, moving on really quick before we run out of time, speaking of your background, we've got FarHack at FarCon. One of the main reasons I was so pumped to join the team, this is from Dillstack, at FarCon, is to run the hackathon. And I'm so excited to announce the details for FarHack at FarCon, the ultimate Farcaster hackathon, to learn how to build cool Farcaster shit with cool Farcaster people from May 3rd to 5th in Venice Beach. So you can learn more here. Go take a look. And also, I'm super grateful for our amazing FarHack partners. All partners will be on site to provide tooling, templates, Q&A, feedback, etc., to help you get building quickly. Huge shout out to Event, Nanar, Airstack, Quilibrium, who we love, MetaMask, Base, Privy, Paradigm, Archetype, Pinata Cloud, and then more. Dynamic, Frames, Optimism, and Variant. So this is amazing. I think this is going to be an incredible experience. I'm hoping we might be able to just be there and look around. So I need to reach out to see if the journos will be allowed in the building. I don't know. But this is
Can we
going to
interview the
start.
hackers?
This is going to start right after our live stream at the Nouns Cafe. So our live stream of episode 100, and then it'll go right into the FarHack. So this is exciting. So that to me is what, we can be depressed, or we can, actually just celebrate all the cool stuff that's happening. And to me, that was super exciting and very demonstrative of that. And I'm going to mention one more thing before we close along those same lines. If you are, oops, I lost it. Where did it go? If you are building there's a Nouns. Oh, I guess I didn't pull it up. The Nouns client Prop House has now been approved for $100,000 for 3 teams to develop a Nouns client, Farcaster client. So if you are interested, go into the Nouns times Farcaster channel. And take a look at that, because that's pretty amazing. And then one last thing is shout out to all of our new Wow subscribers. Like, we just love you. I have a lot of work to do to get a few more things delivered to you today. But I love this from Pai Chai or Pai Chi. I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's hard to shill for myself, but I totally shill for the awesome ladies running GM Farcaster. Don't miss out on supporting the women. With Cold Hard ETH. And I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate all the love we've gotten. It has been overwhelming and lovely. And I wrote about it in my post here with a thank you note to Cameron and Grin that is long overdue about how FarCon changed my life. So go give that a read for all the things I've been feeling this week. But really, we could not appreciate you more. If you are in our regular chat all the time too, we did gift you some bonus time on your subscriptions because we love you so much. And I do have to go through, and there's a few more I need to do for that. Adrienne, anything you want to add to that before we wrap? Because we are running a smidge over time, but I just had to I had to send out some love because it's been overwhelming. The support's been overwhelming, and I think it is so demonstrative of why we love this community so much.
Love. I mean, I was like overwhelmed. I'm like overwhelmed. I expect nothing. So like if one person subscribed to our Hypersub, I'd be floored. And to see the response, we're just like, I was a little overwhelmed. And you know the saying about kind of when you're starting something, it's finding those like 100 true fans.
Yeah.
And
we got 24 to go.
Got 76.
We're looking for 24 more
fans.
Amazing.
And yeah.
Just absolutely amazing. So the wow tier is capped at 100, and there's I think 24 left, or 20, something like that. And the mole is unlimited. So we wanted to make sure we had, an abundance mindset in there too. But just amazing. And we thank you so much, because this is going to help us to continue to do this and build us into a network of many creators who are building on Farcaster. So thank you all so much. And on that note, we are going to end it here. We will see you Friday. We have a guest coming on Friday, don't we?
Oh, we do. How about that?
How about that? You want to tell everybody who that is?
Yeah, we've got Henry from Privy, who's the founder of Privy, coming to join us. So we'll do 21 minutes of news with him, and then we'll move off to do a separate interview as well.
We're going to do a little mini interview after. So make sure you join us on Friday. We will see you then. And until then, by the way, I added for our chatters a new little chat bot. So if you click on the if you do !GN, you're going to see something new today. So go ahead and do that, or click the chat bot. And with that note, I shall say bye-bye.